Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 21st day of July, 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle. Please ensure that you observe the rules of the road and remember the life you save may just be your own. We're getting more anecdotal evidence of careless and reckless driving on the roads of the Cayman Islands. We know that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, that they are out there, but they can't be everywhere. So you need to be disciplined. You need to ensure that you observe the rules of the road as well. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. If you're not feeling well today, and if you're either at home or at a medical facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open this morning. It is the radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paula Cal, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And if you just simply want to listen to us or watch us, then you can do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce my guests, I will give you a report that is connected with what the guests who are in the studio with me this morning will be talking about. So I will share with you the COVID-19 update that was issued yesterday, the 20th of July, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that 363 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported on Monday the 19th. There were 2 positive test results in travelers, and I think yesterday the COVID-19 clinic, the vaccine clinic, was closed on Monday the 19th as well. But the other details that I would normally share with you, I will ask our guests to share them with you this morning. And it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Hazel Brown and Dr. John Lee. Folks, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. Thanks for having us.
Okay. Where do we want to start, Dr. Lee? Since you were last quoted by me in terms of the numbers that were issued yesterday, we'll throw the mic over to you.
Okay, well, just I think people also like the breakdown of the ages, and Nurse Brown said I had to do it. So
okay.
There are 50 females who've had the vaccination, 50% females who've had the vaccination, and therefore 50% males as well. And of those between the age of 12 to 18, so the under the age of majority, there's 37%. 69% of those aged 18 to 30 have had the one dose of the vaccine. 77% of those 30 to 40 have had one dose. 83% of those 40 to 50. 86% of those 50 to 60. And 88% of those over the age of 60. And to date, we have 69% of the population of 71,106 who have received one dose, and 66% have completed their course. I think that figure will hit the magical 70 probably today, because we're just very close to it. So that's nice news to have.
Excellent. In terms of the test results, in terms of the positive ones, are you able to identify whether or not the Delta variant has been present in those testings? Are we able to?
So that's a slightly longer answer than you were perhaps anticipating. But when we look for genomic sequencing, we have to have a certain concentration of virus in the sample, or else the machine won't work.
Okay.
And this is not just the case for Cayman, it's the case for any laboratory around the world. You have to have clearly a good enough sample. So there are lots of samples that we report as positive PCR, but they're not that weak, but they don't have enough virus in them for us to bother to do genomic sequencing, because the machine will, at the end of its 24-hour, 36-hour run, will say, not enough sample. So we have to wait till the end to get the answer. So we only look at ones with a strong value. So I think we probably have had Delta. I think everybody, it's seeded around the world now, but we have not yet detected some. It's just purely a matter of time until we do detect the Delta variant. Whenever we have strong positives, we jump on those and we look at those quite quickly to give a report to see what they are.
Okay. Dr. Brown, testing. Vaccines. Let's talk about that.
My middle name. Mr. O.C., thank you very much for having us, and thank you very much for being with us here, Mr. Steve. I hope that you're going to talk with us too.
Introduce him yet.
I'd love to hear your comments on this whole project.
Sure.
But of concern to us now, O.C., when we started out a couple of months ago, our conversation was all about getting the vulnerable, getting the over 60s and whatnot. Right now, we're much better off with the over 60s than we were initially when we get into 88% with them, even if a lot of them were visitors. And I still want the Caymanian over 60s, the residents, to come forward and get vaccinated. We still have several out there to be done. Mm-hmm. But when we get to 88%, we're feeling more comfortable, because clearly 50% of them are not going to be visitors. Yeah. But what our concern right now is those under 30. And we opened it up to kids, and people were bombarding us. We want it for our children. But now we're only, the 12 to 18 is at 50-something percent, 52%, I think? 37%.
Okay.
So we're not getting the uptake in the younger people. Now, a lot of people sit very comfortably because they believe that in the younger people we don't have severe disease. That's a myth. There is severe disease among the younger people, though not in the high, at such a high incidence as in the older people. But when you think of a young person getting COVID and having to live 60 years with the lung scarring and the heart issues and the liver issues and the brain issues that come even with asymptomatic cases. You know, we're talking about a significant health burden for the country in the long term. And we really need to convince people, those young people, that we need to reach now, and the parents of teenagers to come forward and be vaccinated. As this pandemic as time passes, we're coming to realize more and more the long-term impact of, like I said, even asymptomatic COVID infection, that we're not getting the symptoms and we're not seeing the damage until many, many months after. And it is persistent damage. So we really need to reach the parents and the young people.
Okay, now we see that not only the Cayman Islands is facing this challenge in terms of the slowdown in the uptake of the vaccine. Do we need to do something different now in terms of our ability to entice, to attract those persons who are hesitant in those age groups that we need to get?
I don't know. I think, you know, there's this raffle that's out there for with the Tourism Association and R3 Foundation, the $10,000 raffle. I don't know if people are aware of it, but everybody who takes the vaccine is going to be eligible for that particular one. I don't know, though, that reaches the young people very much. One of the things that, you know, we're looking at different fora to go out and reach them, going out to different radio stations. I don't know how many young people actually listen to us talk here on For the Record, or even to Radio Cayman. I don't know what the demographics that are being targeted. So that's one of the things that I've been looking at to try to find what are the media that would reach these young people. And if anybody out there has any ideas and would like to share with me, by all means, give me a call, because we really need to do everything we can do to reach this age group so that 60 years from now, we're not still bearing the burden of this pandemic.
Okay. Now that school is out as well, when they were in school, you could reach them at school, but now you have to reach them at home. Does the reopening of schools, when that takes place, that'll be in September? In September,
that would be an opportunity for us to just add it to our school health program. But again, we need to have our parents. We have to have parental permission, and it's quite a process to get parental permission. Years ago, when I was in primary school, I remember they just sent the slip home and Mama signed it and it went back. That kind of approach to consent has changed. People aren't that willing to consent for their kids to have vaccine or to have anything done for them in the schools. It's not as free as it used to be. So that is one avenue that we must pursue, but I don't know how fruitful it will be.
Okay. Paul, we're going to take a commercial break now. Both doctors, when we return, want to talk about the schedule, the vaccination schedule that we have in place now. Want to talk about the implications if we don't reach certain milestones that we need to reach at certain junctures, what implications that could possibly have in terms of our ability to reopen as well. So folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
In the 1770s, the British demand for cotton was in full swing, and as cotton prices rose, the British West Indies became key to the British prosperity, with the Cayman Islands seeing a short boom in the cotton industry. The peak of the cotton trade was between 1802 to 1804, with approximately 25 small ships transporting cotton between Grand Cayman and Jamaican ports. Vessels returning from Jamaica brought more slaves in return, which reflected the growing population and the growth in the plantation economics of Grand Cayman. At its peak, Cayman was producing between 40 to 60 tons of cotton per year, and in 1802 there were 545 slaves divided among 88 owner families. The cotton trade was a relatively short-lived economic boom, as the U.S., due to mass slave labor, proved to be able to produce cotton on mass scales, pushing the West Indies out of the cotton industry.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Introducing the 35th President of Rotary Central Cayman Islands, Ms. Corleen Goodman Hoptroff. Our new President Corleen and her team will lead us through the new Rotary year, July 2021 through July 2022. Another year of community purpose and fulfillment. We, Rotary Central, look ahead knowing that with your help, the best is yet to come. President Corleen leads us as we join over 1.2 million Rotarians across 35,000 Rotary clubs around the world under a new Rotary International theme, a new banner: Serve to Change Lives. Serve to change lives in our community, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Serve to change lives, yours and ours. Knowing this, the best is yet to come.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue, and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me Dr. Hazel Brown and Dr. John Lee. And in my excitement of having both of them in the studio, I overlooked, my co-host here with me this morning, Dr. Steve Macfield. So, Doc, good morning, welcome. And I know you have a question for our panel as well.
Good morning to you. Yes, when we took the break, I was asking Dr. Brown. I was discussing, it wasn't a discussion, I was asking her, since this pandemic is a national health issue and it affects everybody, shouldn't the government then have some sort of compulsory policy that you must be vaccinated and that it does, and because that and your human rights are abrogated in the face of the national issue. That's what I would think, that if it's a national issue and people have their human rights, but it says that you can make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of the country, and if those laws are
in furtherance
of the national good
protection of the
and so it seems to me that we're just pussyfooting, going around, hoping that people are going to come forward, and that is not good enough. We should at least have had at least 80% of the population vaccinated by now. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that the human rights that people are claiming, I'm not going to get vaccinated because I have my human rights, I can do what I want to. I think that has to fall away in the face of a national epidemic or pandemic, and I think that's something, that dialogue needs to go on, and we need to start talking about things like that.
Okay.
So, my personal beliefs on this whole thing are really that mandatory vaccination has its place. There are certain countries that in order to travel to them, you have to have your yellow fever vaccine, and you have to have certain vaccinations in place before you can enter. Now, that is for persons entering the country. We have control over those the people who enter. So government can enforce the regulation that persons who are seeking work permits have to be vaccinated, but I don't know what controls we can actually exert over the people who are legally and ordinarily resident here. Schools can do the same thing. Schools can say, in order for you to be a student here, that you must be.
You're hearing something on your
yes,
headphone as well? Okay.
Yes, I did.
Go right ahead. Continue.
A top of the list tune from the Frank Sinatra film Step Lively. Singing
Yes,
Sid Collin,
Paul,
and the title Come Out.
There's another program that we're hearing. Okay.
Oh, see, I think it was my phone talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry about
why
that.
it was talking.
Got you. Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
I'm guilty.
I'll hold that one against you.
I think you must have said that word, SIRI.
Oh, I did. So where was I now? So yeah, schools can make it a requirement. Businesses can make it a requirement. If you come into work for me, you must be vaccinated, and that would then apply to the residents here. Now, I don't know what remedies exist for government to kind of force or to mandate people who are already living here and working here, you and me, to get our vaccine. I would want to be arbitrary, but I also have to understand that that's not really the remit of government to force force persons to do certain things. Having said that, in this particular situation, I think there's a balance to be found between the rights of the individual and the rights or the responsibility of government to protect the population as a whole. Where we get with that, we don't really know until this pandemic plays itself out. Right now, we see what's happening in France, where it's been said that in order to be employed, a healthcare worker, in order to have a job, has to be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, don't show up to work because we're not going to have you. So we'll have to watch how it plays out across the globe. And as the pandemic spreads, I mean, there are certain openings, like I was saying earlier, there have been at least 2 very large events in the UK over the last 2 weeks. And of course, they've also had what they call Freedom Day. And we'll see the impact of that in another 3 weeks and see what does the UK do then, and I'm sure our actions will be informed by what happens there.
Okay, Dr. Lee, anything you want to add to that?
Yes. You can only govern with consent. So in any country, the people that make the laws and the people that need to enforce the laws have to understand well the people in which they live. And so every country will have a slightly different approach.
Yes.
And we're seeing that around the world. Some countries have enabled a much tougher stance, and some of those countries are finding themselves in trouble as a result of it. So I think you need to be measured. You need to feel the sentiment of the people, as well as introduce laws for the protection of the majority. But you know, go back to the point, you have to govern with consent. It is a very different circumstance in a pandemic where everybody in the community is threatened. There is a community responsibility. Whatever your belief system is, I bet my bottom dollar that within that belief system there is a notion of collective responsibility to look after your fellow man, woman, child. And we all need to do that in the face of a threat for the whole community, such as a pandemic. That is my firm belief as a human being. That's what we need to do for our fellow human beings.
Well, so far, since this whole COVID-19 was introduced, I would venture to say that the public, Caymanian public, the population of the Cayman Islands have been fairly collaborative in terms of what the government has asked them to do. Very cooperative in that regard. Where we're seeing now is the lag in terms of the numbers of persons being vaccinated, and it has its ups and downs. It depends on when you're starting to get close to a particular dateline. You may see your numbers, ramp up, and sometimes before that. So the question is then, if we were to ramp it up to a new level, so where we had the shopping days, the days that you could be out, the limited period of time that you could exercise, and all of those things, we went through all of those. But if you now were to ramp it up in other areas, we've seen, for instance, work permit holders, both administrations, the previous administration as well as this administration, have say that they're going to adopt a policy where all work permit holders will be required to be vaccinated if you're coming up for a renewal or if you're being granted a work permit. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, it has not been put in effect yet. And my question there is, are persons falling through the cracks as a result of that? Because while we're saying that it's going to be done, I would imagine at the same time that the government continues to issue work permits, continues to renew work permits, and if that policy is not in place, then all of those renewals are going through without that requirement for being vaccinated. I know we don't have time to talk about that because we're going to our 8 o'clock news, but when we return, Dr. Brown, Dr. Lee, I'd like you to speak more about the work permit policy, where we are in terms of those numbers as well, as far as vaccinations are concerned, because I believe our listening and viewing audience would be interested in hearing that as well. So, folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation with Dr. John Lee and Dr. Hazel Brown will continue. So please stay tuned, because what we're discussing here is extremely important to you, especially if you or your family members have not been vaccinated. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Are you ready? Yes, Dwayne, we had conch the last time. Now we're having conch 2. We learned about the scientific part of the conch. So this time... Is that Rhea Pearl Newman? No, none of that. What it could be this time, we had about the scientific part. We even found out what conch bubbies was. And the conchs have pearls. Tell us what it could be this time. You know, conch 2. Conch 2, all about conch. Conch 2, the eating part. Can you do that again? Come join us. All about the conch. Cooking conch, eating conch. You don't need to tell me about eating conch. I know how to do that part. Join us for the conch too. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
See what I'm saying?
We'll bring it up later, conch.
Conch.
Conch 2, the eaten part, now on Friday, July 23rd.
Radio Cayman time check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's. Live better for less.
At Foster's, you can stretch your dollar further.
You sure can. And this week, you'll find big specials in every department. Just like Tropicana orange juice. Selected varieties, just $3.99. Save $2.
We also have extra laundry detergent. 75 ounces, 2 for $5. Save $4.18 on 2. And Seabest raw shrimp. Now only $11.99. Save $5.
But hurry. Price is good until July 28th, 2021. Shop these big specials in store or order online and have them delivered. Just head to fosters.ky/go.
Foster's. Better prices because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We are here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of December 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Tourism Minister the Honourable Kenneth Bryan says those with essential travel needs for educational or medical purposes who can't get flights need to reach out to government.
It's important because right now we're only going through those who have made reservations. So if you need to fly off the island for those purposes, please call Cayman Airways so we can make the necessary arrangements for extra flights if the demand is there.
During Finance Committee, Minister Bryan stressed that essential travel is only for education or medical purposes and that other travel such as business or vacations do not fall in that category. In a few weeks, kids will be preparing to head back to school, but before they go, health screenings are required. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego has more.
A mandatory health screening program for students entering government schools in the Cayman Islands for the first time will run now through August 23rd. According to government officials, the annual school screening program is starting later than usual this year due to the Health Services Authority's ongoing commitments to providing testing and vaccination services during the global COVID-19 pandemic. Noting that screenings are required for students entering reception programs, School Health Coordinator Nurse Carvel Bailey Abel says that the Education Department requires that process must be completed before the new school year begins in September. The screening includes a growth and development assessment, screening for vision and hearing, a dental assessment, the administration of necessary immunizations, and obtaining a student's personal medical history. Parents and guardians alike are reminded that appointments can also be made at the school the child will be attending and that they must be in attendance for the screening exercise. To expedite the screening process there, government primary school administration offices have already begun contacting students' families to make appointments. Parents must also remember to bring the child's immunization record. Once they receive the record, school health officials will issue a health screening certificate. Prior to the start of the school year, this must be taken to the school the child will enter in September. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
And 2 people are warned for intended prosecution following the interception of a poaching event in the Frank Sound Marine Reserve last Friday. 195 conch and 4 lobster were taken, along with the 2 suspects being warned for prosecution. The marine life was donated to the Pines. The DOE is reminding residents the Frank Sound Marine Reserve area has been protected for more than 30 years. And in addition, conch and lobster seasons are currently closed. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Neil Nunes. China says it's averted the danger of a dam collapsing in the flooded province of Henan. Soldiers used explosives to blast openings, allowing water to escape. The number of people officially confirmed dead from the flooding has risen to 25. Many died after being trapped by rising floodwater on subway trains in the provincial capital, Zhengzhou. 200,000 people have been evacuated. The makers of the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine say they'll work with a South African partner, BioVac, to manufacture their jab locally. It's the first such deal on the African continent. BioVac is scheduled to start supplying vaccines to the market by the end of the year. Tanzania's main opposition party, Chadema, says its leader, Freeman Mbowe, was arrested overnight in a police raid at a hotel, along with 10 other party members. The party recently said it would hold large rallies in its push for constitutional reform. The Iranian authorities say a policeman's been shot dead during more protests in the southwest of the country. A local governor blamed what he called rioters for the killing. The UN cultural organization UNESCO has stripped the historic waterfront of the English city of Liverpool of its World Heritage status over complaints about property development there. It's only the 3rd time that the designation's been withdrawn since the first sites were listed. Brisbane in Australia has been confirmed as the host city of the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. It's the 3rd time an Australian city has been chosen. And the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has announced a referendum on a controversial law that stops teachers talking about homosexuality or gender change with their students. The European Parliament this month voted for action to force a repeal.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended 30th of April, 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June, 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been. 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
With Logic, you get more things you do want, like faster fiber internet, more TV, entertainment, and better customer service. And you get less of the things you don't want, like waiting, boredom, and disappointment. More of the good, less of the bad. It just makes sense. Or should I say, it's logical. See what I did there? Call us or go to logic.ky to find out how you could be getting way more of what's good.
This is an important public service announcement. In accordance with the Standards in Public Life Act, annual declarations of interest must be submitted between the 1st of July and 30th of July 2021 for members of Parliament, various categories of public officials, and members of governing bodies of statutory authorities, government companies, and commissions created under the Constitution. A new online portal for submissions is being launched on the 1st of July 2021 for easier and secure submission and processing of forms. For more information or to determine if you are required under the Act to file a declaration, visit standardsinpubliclifecommission.ky.
Always ensure that food preparation utensils are washed with a strong detergent and rinsed in hot water in the event that they have made contact with flood water. Boil silverware for 10 minutes and immerse glass, porcelain, china, and plastic items in a solution of hot water and 10% chlorine bleach before use. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather, courtesy of our friends at Pan American Life Insurance. Present temperature now 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Partly sunny on the outside, but it feels like about 91. Winds are out of the east at 13 miles per hour. Relative humidity 74%. Last night's dew point was at 77. Barometric pressure is at 30.00 inches and dropping. Light to moderate winds and seas are expected over the Cayman area as a ridge of high pressure dominates the flow over the northwest Caribbean. So our forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be easterly at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Later this evening, partly cloudy skies, 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the upper 70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. We're presently in a high tide. Low tide will be at 1:42 this afternoon and high at 8:33 this evening. For tomorrow, low tide is at 2:41 a.m., high at 7:43 a.m., low at 2:26 p.m., and high at 9:15 p.m. Your sunset is at 7:04 this evening. Sunrise for tomorrow at 5:59. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through Friday evening, with a slight decrease in wind speeds expected from Friday afternoon. And that, my friends, is your latest weather as provided by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, tell a friend. Having an accountability partner is often helpful in achieving your goals. Let your parents and partner know what you are planning or doing. Sharing with others also helps us to develop the ideas and our vision. Writing down your goals can help to solidify them for you and help you to stay accountable.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your traffic situation at the moment. Looking at the east-west arterial Crichton Boulevard area. Got a good flow of traffic in that area. Getting to the Red Bay roundabout, good flow of traffic as you continue along Shamrock Road. Those going through South Sound. Expect a good flow of traffic until about Villa or around that area, where traffic begins to slow up. For those continuing on to Shamrock/Crew Road, onto the Linford Pearson Highway, a bit of slow-paced traffic there as you get onto the Linford Pearson. And going around Crew Road, a little bit of movement. Of course, looking just outside the airport. The traffic along Crew Road going a little bit slowly at the moment. And coming around onto Shedden Road area there, moving a little bit slow, but getting into the Georgetown area begins to move a little bit. Heading along Hulda Avenue, a little bit of northward bound traffic as you make your way onto Elgin Avenue, or continuing on via Thomas Russell Way, and heading up to the roundabout just outside, or the Butterfield roundabout. Of course, tapping on that camera to take a look at it once it rotates to that area. But looking at Shedden Road, very light traffic. A couple of pedestrians carefully crossing as well. Godfrey Nixon Way getting a little bit busy with westward bound traffic onto the Eastern Avenue. And now looking at the Butterfield roundabouts, got a little bit of traffic heading eastwards towards Dorsey Drive. Similar with some traffic coming out that area. Let's make your way to the roundabouts. A little bit of traffic coming off the Esley Tibbetts Highway, which is to be expected in that area as it's a very busy area. Of course, looking down from the Ritz-Carlton, a bit of traffic heading into Georgetown as you make your way down West Bay Road via North Church Street onto Seafarers Way, continuing on to Cardinal Avenue and thereabouts. Expect the usual light traffic in those areas. Buckle up and stay safe. Look out for those on foot, bicycle, motorbikes, and don't be texting while driving. That's your latest traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway. Best place to grab some breakfast right now.
When you're tight on time and budget, but big on flavor, Subway's Meal of the Day hits the spot. Enjoy daily meals on classic sandwiches like tuna, Black Forest ham, meatball marinara, and more. Starting at $6.25 for 6-inch meals and $8.75 for footlongs. You can get Subway's Meal of the Day. Enjoy a different sandwich on a different day for the same price. price. Mix it up with cookies or chips or waffle fries for the same price. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Introducing the 35th President of Rotary Central Cayman Islands, Ms. Corleen Goodman Hoptroff. Our new President Corleen and her team will lead us through the new Rotary year, July 2021 through July 2022. Another year of community purpose and fulfillment. We, Rotary Central, look ahead knowing that with your help, the best is yet to come. President Corleen leads us as we join over 1.2 million Rotarians across 35,000 Rotary clubs around the world under a new Rotary International theme, a new banner. Serve to change lives. Serve to change lives in our community, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Serve to change lives, yours and ours. Knowing this, the best is yet to come.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies, providing quality pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and consumer products to healthcare providers, retailers, and ultimately the patients at a reasonable rate in a friendly, caring, and timely manner. Cayman Medical Supplies is located at number 93 Smith Road, Windward Center. Telephone 949-6211.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me, in addition to Dr. Steve McPhail, we have Dr. John Lee and Dr. Hazel Brown. We're talking about the COVID-19 vaccination program here in the Cayman Islands. We have several WhatsApp messages as well, and I will share them, as many as I can, with you. We know that Dr. Lee will be leaving us at 9 o'clock, so we want to give him also an opportunity to cover all of those areas that he wants to cover as well. And Dr. Brown, we want to talk about the vaccination schedule as well. You want to talk about that now?
I'm good to talk about the schedule.
Sure.
So our schedule has changed a little bit coming into July, largely because the uptake hasn't been as high. I mean, we've gone from like 2,500 in a day to 240 in a day.
Okay.
So we're still using the Owen Roberts, and we need to make a big shout out to Airports Authority and their support. We could not have done this without them. Mm-hmm. And so we're still at the Owen Roberts Airport on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
On Thursdays, we have a day free. So that's the day that we actually want persons to reach out to us and say, we have a group here, we have a group there. If we have a group, anything 25 or over, we'll come to a workplace. We go to the districts on those days. We'll go to, normally we'll use the West Bay, John Cumber School Hall, Bordentown. We love the Bordentown venue. That's the Bordentown Public Beach, right? That big cabana, and it's beautiful. Okay. and it's cool. And East End, we use the East End Public Beach where they do not the public beach, but the one east of the gas station where they do Pirates Week.
Oh, yes.
So we go out to the districts. We need to hear from district groups. Northside, we haven't heard anything from Northside recently to see whether or not they need us to go back out there. We had excellent response from Northside in the early days, so pretty much all that population has been reached. But businesses, large businesses that need us to come in and do groups of persons. We also do government admin buildings sometimes, depending on their requirements. But that's Thursdays. We have our Thursdays set aside for that. And Fridays, we go to the Camana Bay location. And we generally do Camana Bay from late morning until late in the evening, like 9 o'clock. It's because we have, a lot of people come to Camana Bay on Friday afternoons just to relax. So that's our schedule now. We don't do anything on Mondays, and that's largely because of demand, and the staff then work Tuesday to Saturday.
Okay. Can you speak in terms of eligibility? Who's eligible to get the vaccine at this stage?
Anybody 12 years and older. Anyone 12 years and older, we are encouraging to come out and get the vaccine. Of course, the 12 to 17 need to come with a parent or a responsible adult.
Okay, and while you have the mic, one of the questions that we had from one of our listeners had to do with the fact that if they had received the vaccine, the first dose through the Health Services Authority here in the Cayman Islands, and as a result of traveling overseas, received the second dose in the U.S., what are the quarantine requirements for that individual returning to the Cayman Islands?
I think I'll give that one to Dr. Lee.
Currently, the quarantine requirements are that we can securely verify your vaccination, then you are eligible for a 5-day quarantine. It really doesn't matter if one of those was given one place and one another. Mm-hmm. It's the secure verification that's the issue. We're going to be announcing probably this week an expansion of what we'll accept as secure verification, as we've been working through the teething problems associated with very new abilities out there, and the Government Information Department has been working hard on that. But certainly all we're interested in is to make sure that people have had 2 doses of an approved vaccine at least 14 days before arriving, and if we can be assured of that, then that it doesn't matter whether one was given in one place and one was given in another. And just on that issue, OC, I think, we're going to find that as time goes on, people are going to probably have had 1 dose of AstraZeneca and 1 dose of Pfizer. And, the studies are increasingly showing that it doesn't, that mixing them again will not be an issue, and actually may be advantageous, provided it's a good and an approved vaccine. And as we move on and there will be a requirement for boosters for the elderly or for the vulnerable. Again, for those people, it might well be that it's not the same as the original first dose that you had, or first pair of doses.
Okay, now that you have the mic, Dr. Lee, I know there's certain areas that you want to touch on as well.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to the Caymanian people, because we've talked previously about lockdown and going through that really difficult 6 to 8 months or so on. But additionally, with the success of the vaccine, often on news people like to be dour or be negative and hammer people, but we've all done exceptionally well. If you look at our vaccination rates, thank you so much to all those people who've come forward, because we have really stellar vaccination rates in Cayman, where many countries of the world are struggling really hard to get people to come forward. So the public here have done a really good job. Everybody has different things that push their buttons. I know some people hear shows like this and they cringe and they say, why are people still, hammering me, for example, if you're not vaccinated? But everybody has different points in their life when they wish to make a decision, and it is a decision entirely for themselves. We just want to give them a good reflection of opinions and of evidence in order to help them to make that decision. Yes, the government is able to try and push and encourage. We know that the HSA has now brought in a policy to say that people who have work permit renewals or new joiners would need to be vaccinated for the HSA, or they'd need to have regular PCR testing. And the Premier has announced that we're going to be doing a similar thing for vaccination of work permit holders, and as well as PCR testing for frontline workers who are dealing with the tourists. So there are things that we can do to push in one direction, as well as we know that Nurse Brown has mentioned the cash prizes, and Minister Bryan through tourism has also suggested that once he gathers the $100,000, wow, I'd like to have a bit of that. $100,000 prize, that'll be another incentive to work towards the vaccination. So lots of different things to try and incentivize people. But thanks to the people who have come forward so far.
Okay, and we know that off air when we were doing the news that you opine on the fact that employers can take the unilateral decision now to require their employees to be vaccinated?
I think that's always a contractual issue it's clearly I'm not a legal expert but for people who are wishing to join your firm, it's very easy. Or if you're renewing a contract, it's much easier at that point. For existing employees, that's a rather a different matter. But certainly, especially if you work in areas where you're going to be dealing with tourists, I can see some employers saying you'll need to be vaccinated before you join our staff.
Okay, Doc, any viewpoint on that from a legal standpoint?
No, I think that it depends on the, as Dr. Lee said, the contractual relationship between the employer and the employee. Certainly, if you're offering a job to someone and someone is asking you to employ them, you can make certain conditions of employment. And so I think Dr. Lee is completely right. I don't see where there would be any legal challenges. If I said to someone, to be a secretary in my firm, you have to be vaccinated, I don't see any problems with that. I think the problems would be if someone is in my firm now and I say, to continue to work to be working in my firm, you have to go out and get a vaccine. That's the problem that you would.
Because you would be changing the terms and conditions at that point in time as well. Okay, we're going to be going to a commercial break. Just want to keep this one in mind. One of our listeners compared the situation to similar, saying that if a person, I'll just read it. It says, what happened to the law or the policy that stated that you can only refuse treatment when it does not involve an STI or communicable disease. If COVID-19 is not a communicable disease, then what is it? And they then go on to raise the point that we need to enforce the vaccine process, that it needs to be mandated as well. So, Paul, we're going to take that commercial break. We do have a caller on hold as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com, or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Celebrate Cayman is taking the Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry to local communities every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Come out for a fun, family-friendly evening to learn about the Seafarers Registry, access complimentary health and wellness checks, share seafaring stories in the memory booth, enjoy seafaring-themed activities, socialize with seafarers, and more. The Celebrate Cayman Seafarers Registry Roadshow happening every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Visit celebratecayman.ky for schedule and info.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry, Celebrate Cayman, the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, and the Department of Children and Family Services will be visiting the Church of God Chapel, Boddentown Church Hall on Thursday, the 22nd of July.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve MacPhail, Dr. John Lee, and Dr. Hazel Brown. I'm surrounded by doctors this morning, and I'm the patient. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, Mr. O.C. Good morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning. Good morning.
To your panelists, Johan Moxham here. I hope everybody's well.
Good morning.
Fine,
good
morning.
Just want to say, first of all, to the medical professionals on the panel, thanks for everything that you guys have done to try and keep us safe, the advice, and basically trying to help two governments now understand that this thing is no joke. We're as a country, we're in good shape because of the efforts of you guys and countless others. So as a citizen, thank you very much for that. I had a quick question because I read something. I need you guys to help me, and I'm not sure if the medical professionals are responsible for something called travel time, Cayman time, something like that. But there seemed to be the need to justify your purpose for travel. But if you've been vaccinated and you've done everything that has been requested of you, who exactly are you writing to for justification to travel? And on what is the legal basis that somebody can tell you no, where nobody knows what the criteria is? My personal circumstances are, my mother's 71 years old. She lives in California. I'm an only child. She's breaking down physically, but it isn't a life-threatening thing. So now for me to write to Travel Time, Cayman Time, whatever it's called, who and what is the criteria that is used to determine whether that trip is necessary? Because she's an elderly person, and I got to check on her because I haven't seen her in the better part of 2 years now. So is that something that comes back to the medical people, or do they then draft the regulations for us to understand who qualifies and what qualifies? Because there are people that are flying in and out of this place, and some of them are not vaccinated, and some of them get exemptions from a lot of different things. So it's a complex question, but I think you guys are the best ones that should be able to help with that. Thank you very much. Have a good day and keep up the great work.
Sounds like that.
Thank you much, caller.
Johan, thanks very much for the call. Sounds like that's for me. Travel Cayman is managed separately, so there's a separate management structure for Travel Cayman. But the request that only essential travel goes ahead is largely one that has been a request that's been put out by both this administration and the previous administration. That is the nature under which we have only allowed repatriation flights, and we're not allowing other airlines into the country. The fact that these are essential flights for repatriation purposes, and that is why people are being asked only to undertake essential travel. There is, however, I don't believe there is any strict legal basis in terms of regulations that says that. I could be corrected on that matter, but I don't recall any myself.
Okay.
Thank you. The definition for essential travel is what you're talking about. Is not clearly set out in the regulations.
Yeah, so exactly. I don't believe it is set out as such that describes it, no.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, panel.
Good morning.
This is, I spoke to you about OC already, but I can speak to Dr. Lee on this. I want his opinion. Dr. Lee, I left the island 7 weeks ago for a month. I came back in a month. I've been vaccinated before I left. The country I was in, I was tested before I left that country. 2 days before the flight, 48 hours actually, not 72, 48. Get on the flight. I come back to Cayman. They send me home for the 5-day quarantine. I did it. I went back with 5 days later and I was negative. But my question is this. Because when I came in, I would have thought that they would have tested me immediately, even with the vaccine. Because I had a friend of mine that came on the flight 2 weeks before that, and he was vaccinated. They sent him home for 5 days. He goes and gets tested. He was positive. And he was tested before he left that country too. And came in, he was tested negative. To me, I would think I should have been tested immediately. Because this guy came in with positive. He was around people in the airport. He took a cab or whatever, bus home. You know, he could have gave that to 10 other people at the same time. I would think, in my view, with 2 vaccines, test me as I enter the country.
Okay.
If I'm negative the next day, turn me loose.
Okay, let's give Dr. Lee an opportunity to respond.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thanks for the question. The issue really, to me, is what would have changed had you tested positive, and nothing would have changed. You would have still have had to have remained in isolation. And when we first introduced the system of testing and isolation and so on, we were less confident about allowing people into community. Now we're confident that our systems worked, and we've had them in place for several months now. So, and as we open and the volume of people starts to rise, we are not going to be able to test everybody that comes into the country. So this is part of the step down in our phased reopening of the borders.
Yes.
The testing on exit is really the thing that is keeping us safe. So before you actually leave that 5 days, getting you checked, that is the current safety, the final safety check before we allow people into the community.
Okay,
thanks. And in addition to that...
as far as I'm concerned on that situation, that to me, it will make any sense. You punishing people that way? I shouldn't have a quarantine, but, you know, it don't make any sense to me, basically, but... That's how it'll be, and I have to go again in the 1st of October for a checkup. So I hope that's the same at the 14th, that it should be stopped. That when you come in vaccine, you come in negative, you're free to go.
Mm-hmm. There may be a different regime in October.
But unfortunately, sir, people can you're still able, even though you're vaccinated, you're still able to contract the virus and
spread it.
Yeah. So, you know, we currently have 3 people who have been positive, having been fully vaccinated, who are in quarantine. So we are picking these people up all the time, and there is the potential for these people to cause an issue, which is why we're asking for such high vaccination rates of 80% from the public to secure the public protection from this virus.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I understand your situation there, but to me, to come back to take the vaccine and gotta be quarantining, it's not right for the people that go and get the vaccine.
But you're only quarantining for 5 days, buddy. 5 days compared to 15. Yep. So there is a reduction.
15 days one time, I did 5 days already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you very much, caller. We want to grab some other callers as well, and Dr. Lee has to leave us at 9 o'clock. Let's grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to hear those 2 words that Dr. Lee mentioned. Less confident. Oh, my God. The panel is actually human. That's a good thing. But Bob, the gentleman that spoke of going overseas to see his elderly mother, I don't know, but could we look at something called travel for compassionate situation?
We do.
Okay. But I haven't heard anything about it, actually. and I didn't hear anything. At least I was listening carefully, and I didn't hear anything said to him that would, to me, say, well, you know.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am.
Anyway,
thanks for your concern, but it's not. It isn't me that says what is considered essential travel. I would certainly consider Mr. Moxham's case essential with his elderly mother. I wouldn't hesitate to say so, but it isn't a decision that is mine.
And I'd say to that, I haven't heard of anyone who has requested permission to travel for those kinds of reasons being denied. Truth is, I don't know of anybody who's been denied, but most people are limiting it to essential travel. But I mean, I've had a number of staff members who've had to travel for compassionate reasons. Somebody's ill or something, and they've been allowed to go. I think what Johan was speaking to wasn't that he had been turned down, but that he wondered, what about this justification?
Right, whether or not it actually qualified. Yeah. Okay, we're going to grab one more caller before we go to our next commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. Ossie. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Fine. How are you?
Pretty good. And to Dr. Steve, and of course to the Dr. Hazel and Dr. Lee.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't even know where to start this morning, to be honest with you, but I'll try to pull some of the things together. I want to express to Dr. Hazel and Dr. Lee, and perhaps they can help me with my little concerns and fears that I'm having. I'm a little concerned about our opening. I know that we worked really hard, guys, at trying to make sure it's all together, but I suppose some of the pieces are not adding up. And I don't know if that's because I'm a reader or I'm an avid listener to news and the whole nine. And I need us to help. I need you to help me to understand. I guess the question I have is: are we expecting a different COVID in Cayman when we start to have a little more opening up? And I ask that because I see places that have opened or attempted to open or partially opened and they closed down. I see the United States talking about banning their people from going to the UK. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I don't know if that's a reciprocal thing because they're mad that the UK probably has them on some sort of amber list, and we know the political things that go on in these decision-making, never mind the medical world. So I guess, and we can use many examples of some of the countries that have attempted to open up, not the least that look like us, BVI being one. I'm wondering if we're expecting a different COVID, and some of the science, Dr. Lee, and you can certainly correct me, and I'm sure you will, but some of the things I've been reading and are looking at talks about, we know the vaccines are effective. That's not a question, and I'm vaccinated, by the way, and most people that are around me are.
Congratulations, congrats.
Of course, man. But, so it's not from that standpoint that I'm coming at you, but the concerns I'm having is that some of the science and some of the things I'm reading recently is in regards to, they're thinking about whether you may need a booster. This Delta variant has taken hold on our number one visitor, which is the U.S. I mean, either we believe it or we don't. And so I'm wondering if you can shed a little light about what your thinking is surrounding some of the news that is out there, some of the stuff in the science world surrounding these variants and how effective the vaccines are. Because for me, that's more my concern, because either we would have done all of this lockdown and all this other stuff to try to keep COVID out, or we are looking at COVID as some sort of little friendly pet, like, okay, no, we're vaccinated, so we're okay, where there is some science that's also challenging that aspect of it. That's more my concern, and I'm just wondering so the question is, are we expecting a different COVID from when we open up?
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have Dr. Lee respond to you, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
The 20th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts is here.
Are you ready for some talent tonight?
Presented by the New Self-Help Community Foundation. Coming to the stage Sunday, July 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Don't miss. Awesome performances by Liana DaCosta, JC Patrick, Rico Rolando.
Yeah, she twerking off a band and I'm about to make a dance, yeah.
Radiance Dance Studio, Mariah Praise, Dream Chasers Cayman, James at Anglin and Son, SI, Center Point Dance Studio, and UCCI Dancers. Part of the proceeds from the Talent Exposition of the Arts go to support the John Gray High School Music Department. Prepaid tickets at Funky Tangs and Winners Circle Sports. $10 or $15 at the gate. The 2021 Talent Exposition of the Arts, Sunday, July 25th at the Hartwell Theater. Gates open at 5:30 p.m. Show starts at 6:30. Get your tickets today.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to release Dr. John Lee from quarantine at 9 o'clock this morning. That question was for him, and I think this one is sort of like connected to that as well. And this person says, the United Kingdom has thrown its own borders and COVID protocols wide open, and they call it freedom. It will probably cause chaos, yet Public Health England is telling Cayman that we cannot open our borders until we get 80% of the eligible population vaccinated. Seems like a double standard. Worse yet, even visitors from our primary tourist market, the United States of America, who are vaccinated with the Pfizer and 2 injections, they cannot visit unless they do 14 days quarantine. Many American homeowners are frustrated by this. There must be a way to verify these people taking the proper Pfizer vaccine, especially if they have property in Cayman or have been here in the past. This stranglehold with the U.S. visitors who have been fully vaccinated is dangerous. With the UK's double standard, the United States red tape and gray area must be resolved soon. Otherwise, the entire vaccine initiative is a waste of time. Comments on that as well? I know that one was fairly long.
Thanks, Osi. So just to go back to the caller before the break, of course, we're not expecting a different COVID. And if we wanted no COVID ever to come in the country, we would need to keep our borders shut. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that. That's pretty clear. If that's the choice, then that's a choice that the government will make. If the government wishes, because the public are requesting the borders to be opened, then we have to follow a different path. Mm-hmm. I can only advise, depending on the paths, what I and Public Health see as the safest route through that, or as we see it, because every country is different. And we'll see that in the BVI, in Bermuda, and in Anguilla, they have taken different paths, and that has led to consequences that we all know and understand, because they've had different pressures and different experiences that have led them down different paths. We here in Cayman have exceedingly high vaccination rates, and higher than all of those three countries that I've just mentioned, and higher than almost any other country in the world. And that is what's going to be the protection that we are leaning on to keep our people as safe as we possibly can. And the only way to make it safer, if we are to reopen, is to get more people vaccinated. So please come forward and be vaccinated, because that will prevent serious illness and deaths up to this point. So that is the big issue. It is exactly the same COVID. One more issue related to that is the small print, because everybody always hears the headlines, but they don't listen necessarily to the small print. And the Premier was quite clear in his presentation to the Chamber of Commerce that the transition between phases will be determined by the CMO and Public Health, and that will take assessment of the prevalence rates in the countries where people are coming from, the level of hospitalization rates and deaths in those countries, and the global level of vaccination rates, and how variants of concern are developing. So the dates that we were given by the Premier are all subject to review at each particular point. So do not bank 100% on us achieving those targets, because we cannot see into the future. And we know that COVID-19 has thrown us many curveballs that have thrown our plans off course. We were due to reopen. Our plans were right in place to reopen in December of last year, and then the variants of concern and our questions about whether the vaccine would work all started to rise. So it's thrown us a lot of different curveballs. For the second question, which was an extensive one, I've already previously mentioned about the secure verification that we're going to probably hear an announcement later in the week, so do look forward to that. As far as the double standards are concerned, Public Health England we don't follow the direction of Public Health England. Public Health England give exactly the same advice to all of the different UK overseas territories, and we've seen that they all take different paths. They give us information, and then we take our own. We choose our path because it depends on the country and the country's what pressures that country is under as to which path they will take. So I don't think it's a question of double standards. It's just that we have always in Cayman taken a different path, and it's had a different outcome.
Okay, thank you very much. We have two callers on hold, and I have 3 minutes. So and Dr. Lee will be leaving us at 9. So if both of you want to get a response from Dr. Lee, I'm going to ask you to make your questions real short so that he can answer them before 9 o'clock. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
This is a quick question for Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, it was about early 2019. I had a trip to Atlanta, and on returning, I became very ill. It started with like slithers of metal coming out of going into my throat. And during the night, I had to be taken to the emergency. And let me tell you, I've never seen people work like they worked on me. And they had the nebulizers, and the room was just full of all this smoking and whatnot. And because the time is short, I'll make it very brief. But by morning, they had me breathing pretty well. But then after that, I was sent home with more nebulizers, and I was homesick for 3 months. Of course, I'm a hygienic person, and I got in my room. I used just Sorry stuff. I didn't mix with the rest of my families at all, not even to wash my clothes. And I did everything for myself. But it was the worst thing that had ever happened to me, and the right side of my throat was blocked. That it's like it felt like cotton in the air. I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't lie on a bed flat. I had to be sitting up for 3 months. I was extremely sick for 3 months.
Need your question, caller. Need a question.
No. The question is, I was asking at that time, there had been any other sick people like myself, because I know it was not a regular flu. My question is, could I be checked to confirm that it was COVID that I'd had? Because I do not want to take any shots if I already had it.
Okay.
Thanks very much for your question, ma'am, and I'm sorry to hear you felt so unwell, and clearly it's left its mark, because otherwise you wouldn't still be remembering the details of that. So sorry to hear about that.
I think the doctors would even remember. There was a short, round lady doctor who worked so hard with the others, and I was thanking her in the morning so much for helping me to at least be alive. And she was laughing, and she said, "My dear, you don't have to thank me. You was really..." She said you was almost dying, you know. And she said that's our duty. But they did take good care of me, or I wouldn't be here asking the question if I can be checked to see whether, if you have that facility here now, which I think is something that we need to have to know whether I had already had COVID.
Okay.
So ma'am, we thank you for, and I'm glad you were looked after well. It's very unlikely, however, that we'd be able to detect any antibodies so long away. I think you said the beginning of 2019. Also, we have no evidence that COVID existed in the world much before December 2019, so that's quite a bit away. So although it is possible to check antibodies for these things, they tend to fall off after about 6 to 8 months of having a condition. So I think it unlikely, although you would need to speak to your own doctor in your particular instance and to see whether they felt it was worthwhile.
And even persons who were positive for COVID, we are recommending that they have the vaccine after, because the vaccine gives a better immune response than the actual illness.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Top of the hour, headline news at 9 o'clock. We have the other caller on hold, and we will take that caller as soon as we return, so please stay tuned. Dr. Lee, just any closing comments before you leave? Sorry, sir. I forgot about that. Paul, we're going to go over a little bit.
No, I'm good. Thanks very much.
Okay, folks, we'll be back shortly, so please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 363 COVID-19 tests on Tuesday. 2 came back positive, both travelers in isolation. So far, 66% of the estimated population has been fully vaccinated. 12 people have died after record-breaking rainfall flooded underground railway tunnels in China, leaving passengers trapped in rising waters. Video shared on social media showed evening commuters just managing to keep their heads above water as it's seen rushing into the platforms. More than 500 people were eventually rescued from the tunnels in the Henan province. Days of rain have caused widespread damage and led to more than 200,000 evacuations. And anger is growing in Australia as 13 million people, about half of the population, endure fresh lockdowns to quash COVID outbreaks. A third state went into lockdown today. Stay-at-home orders are now in place in southern Australia, Victoria, and parts of New South Wales. Many people have expressed frustration at being back in highly policed lockdowns 18 months into the pandemic, and reopenings in the UK and the US have put pressure on the government. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Dr. John Lee has had to leave us, but Dr. Hazel Brown is still here with us, and Dr. Mark Field is in the studio as well. Paul, that caller is still on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. Good morning.
And good morning, Dr. Steve and Dr. Brown.
Good morning.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One, if a person has been vaccinated in the U.S., and specifically with Pfizer, once they've returned to Ireland, is it something worked out that if they take their vaccination card and the paperwork and everything, and the public health department determines that it is valid, will that be accepted and then treated as if it were given in Cayman or the UK?
No, it won't. There are a number of agencies in the U.S. that have the electronic verification capability, and those are accepted, yes. And we don't have to convert them because you get an electronic version that can be verified directly with the provider. If you bring that card to us, there's no way for us to verify that it was given by whom, by the person that it says that gave it or that's recorded on that card. So what this is a global effort right now to get electronic verification across the globe for vaccines. And it's been driven largely by fraud around the whole vaccination process, where people have produced records and not been vaccinated. People have, they were for purchase and some were stolen and whatever. We have to be very, very intentional about the protection of our records. You don't get vaccination cards. We don't leave them lying around. The stamp that authenticates them, they're guarded very carefully. If we were to lose one of those stamps, then we would have to replace them all and notify several different agencies that our public health stamp had to be changed. So the short answer is no.
Dr. Brown, I don't know if you missed the other part of the question. In addition to the physical card, I guess this is what you're referring to as electronically, and tell me if it is the same. It was then sent by email.
A QR code.
Yes.
Yes.
Lots
so
of information as well.
So if you have a QR code on your sent to you electronically, sent to you by email, then I believe that's what Dr. Lee is referring to. I think this week or next week we're expecting to be able to have the reader capability that we can actually read that QR code. So our electronic verification is going in two phases. First of all is the ability for us to read those QR codes for people coming in. Once we have that ability, you're safe. That can be read globally.
Okay, and I wasn't going to ask this question because that's not the answer I had been given all along, but since you brought that part up, then I'm going to ask another question. What then happens to Caymanians who are resident in Cayman who may have been vaccinated overseas because obviously they were overseas for a long time and didn't have a chance to do it in Cayman? What happens to those people? I mean, you don't have to answer me that because you've answered me enough. So I'll ask the other question.
So as this global verification spreads, as more and more providers take on the verification. So for instance, Cayman, we don't have an electronic record now, but we're in the process of working on that.
Converting
all of our records to electronic. And I expect that across the globe that's going to be happening. Once you've been vaccinated somewhere else, they will have the providers will have the responsibility to convert those to QR codes or whatever, some electronic readable vaccine. Now, you have to look back at the email that you receive from the provider to ensure that it has a QR code. If it doesn't have the QR code, which is that little black box, the little box with little black squiggles, if you don't have that, then you don't have electronically verifiable record.
But it was sent with both shots, the first one and the second one. Okay, I'm sorry. So, in the case of where, say, it's not there, is it some way that the patient would then go back to the provider and ask them for some, for the type of verification to satisfy Cayman?
That would be the responsibility, yes, of the person who was vaccinated.
But the question is, would Cayman accept it?
Once it's electronically verifiable, yes.
Okay. So I'll just say the next thing I wanted to say. I hear a lot of people, advocating, campaigning against the vaccine. And I was wondering, and these are people who have no medical background or scientific background. We all know about the misinformation that it's not just on social media, but even on the TV now. And so I was wondering if Cayman has ever considered, even cautioning people who are doing that, because I believe that's playing a big part in why the rest of the Caymanian residents are not coming forward to be vaccinated.
Okay, caller, thank you very much for that, Doc.
I'm going to leave that one to Dr. Steve because I think that's more like a freedom of speech, a freedom of communication issue. Okay. I really couldn't respond to it.
Well, I haven't heard personally saw anything about in Cayman about people telling people not to be vaccinated. I see that come from other places on the.
There's a lot of it here.
Yes,
it's preached from the pulpit. There's a lot, but I don't think we have any jurisdiction. I don't think we have any control over what they speak.
No,
right? Yeah, I think the social media platforms and stuff like that, like Facebook, they're doing something to
yeah, they're trying to control.
They're trying to control it, but other than that, we just have to try to counter what they're preaching with, the scientific and medical facts. We still have a few callers on hold. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of people that telling people to don't take it, because I, for one, trying to get people to take it, and what I've been told that it's not a vaccine. I said, well, what is it? They say it's experimenting on human being. That's what I was told. And then another thing, I understand that because I had my two long time. When the premier asked me, have you been vaccinated? I said, I was one of the first. I was begging him. He said, well, maybe you do for your third one. I said, well, just bring it on. I'll take it. I don't want no COVID. I'd rather die if I got die from the vaccine than the COVID. Anyway, cut that short. It's a lot of people telling people not to take it. Because when I was talking to my daughter, I was telling her that at least we got 66% vaccinated. She said, well, at least you got a bit more than us. Because I didn't know what can happen to us. She said, because when we got a second, because these people are not hearing, and a lot of people won't take it. And I have plenty of friends that I'm trying to persuade to take it, and they say they're not taking it, and nobody can't make them take it. And I understand that there's a few that if they don't take it, they don't have a job, and they say, well, it's what it is. And then I could say a certain somebody that telling them to don't take it, but I don't want to say that on the radio because that could create a pack of worms, and they don't hate me enough. But there is people, and there's big people telling people not to take it in the society.
Okay.
And I don't talk this now. My road, loop, hoop, nor Facebook. When I say something, I know what I'm saying. It's genuine information. It's from the horse's mouth.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that, caller. Still another caller on hold, Paul. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
We'll see you again.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Doctor. Dr. Mac. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can I ask one question, please?
Sure.
When you decide to make a law on opinion, that really consider to me. I mean, I really have to follow in a democracy like that. On opinion, like OCC, I say your hair is supposed to always not be on your face, but always on your head. That's my opinion. Yeah, and I decided to make that law because I got the money and I got the forces or whatever to tell you that you better wear that beard on your head. You feel that is democratic?
No, but you do realize that that if you feel that a law is unfair and unjust, that it can be challenged, and we see in other jurisdictions where laws as well as policies are being challenged. So it can be challenged.
But you need money to challenge it?
Not necessarily.
Okay. That does.
And that's why you have constitutions that have certain provisions in there that you have certain organs of outside of the government to ensure that the government is held in check. That's why you have things like a Human Rights Commission, public
defenders,
right,
public
standards in
defenders
public
office
life and things of that nature. So it can be challenged if a law is deemed to, or a person feels that it is unjust, is unfair. Yeah, Doc. I mean, you're the lawyer. Go ahead.
Yeah, and in other jurisdictions, you have so many different institutions to challenge unfair laws, and but we don't have them here because we're not that kind of society where we challenge everything. But in other jurisdictions where the constitutional aspects of a law arises almost on a daily basis, you have institutions that you can go to and they will take up the cause for you. You can do it yourself also. You can do it yourself. I've seen many times here, not many times, but several cases here in the last, I would say, last 10 years, where the constitutionality of a law was challenged, and it didn't cost any money either. Because I think if the challenge is something that for the public interest, the courts will allow you to challenge it without you having to pay any money. So it depends. I don't think we risen to that aspect yet where we challenge everything like our friends in the north of us, and it's just because of our nature. We've always been accepting the governments that pass the laws, and there's only a few things that I have seen that people have challenged and went to the courts and got a decision.
The other thing is that I don't think that our people are as familiar with or as conversant with the Constitution and the understanding that the Constitution is the highest level of law in the land. And the truth is that if any law is passed that is in contravention of the Constitution or anything embedded in it, that you can actually, that's the unconstitutionality of a law, right?
That's right.
So one of the things that I advocate for is every Caymanian learn what is in your Constitution and what is in that Bill of Rights.
Yep.
Yes. Dr. Maxfield, you know any laws on Cayman that is arbitrary?
No, I don't know any laws. I know that some laws do not have the strength, that the teeth, as we say, that it should have. But I don't know if any law is arbitrary. I think if there was any laws that are arbitrary, I think that they would be a challenge to them already.
And the process of developing laws actually allows for input. And again, I don't think we are alert to that, right? Like many times we sit as Caymanians, we've just been a very compliant people and allowed things to just go through and not engage in the public debate around things like the development of laws. So I also believe that process kind of precludes some of the things that we have in like unconstitutionality.
And then you have the litmus test as well, where government is obliged to ensure that any legislation that they're introducing and is going to be passed, that it meets that constitutional threshold as well. And don't forget now, caller, and I don't necessarily agree that this should happen, but what actually happens is that the United Kingdom also gets the opportunity to look at any law that is passed here, and they, through the governor, must assent to it in order for any bill to become a law. And if you listened in on Monday, you heard me talk about the British Virgin Islands and their legislation that is being held up now simply because may not necessarily pass the litmus test that the United Kingdom wants it to.
And following on from what Dr. Brown said, we're sort of passive here.
Absolutely.
You know, the government has to. I think the laws now have to be published 28 days before the bill is even brought into to come before the legislature for the first reading. But we in those 28 days we don't care. We don't ask for a copy to read it or to have someone to read it to us or to explain it to us. We just go along, and then after it's passed in the legislative assembly, we don't even go to get a copy of the law itself. So it's lack of civic education, really. That
civic involvement.
Civic involvement. Yes.
Okay, caller, I want to thank you very much for that because Dr.
Is everybody here passing?
Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there because Dr. Brown has to leave and we're beyond our break, but I want to give her an opportunity for some closing comments. And just to say, in response to have you respond to one more message that we received. If a person is having flu-like symptoms and things of that nature, and they go to the hospital and they ask the doctor to be tested for COVID-19 to ensure that is not the case. What are the protocols, in relation to that? Is a doctor allowed to do that?
Anyone who anyone who wants a test can reach out to us, and we are happy to test people, particularly symptomatic people. But right now, with the level of control that we have in country, we don't really see any people. We haven't seen anyone without a travel history for such a long time. But absolutely, yes. And we are testing in the emergency room and in the clinics we're doing PCR.
Okay. Final closing comments for you, Dr. Brown, before you leave us?
Well, I just want to encourage everyone to try to engage with those 30 and under. Let us see if we can get our young people to take this vaccine. They are the future of our country. The COVID has been shown to have these long-term effects, even for people who have mild disease. First of all, I keep telling people death from COVID is not the worst effect. Death is not the worst thing about COVID. It's really that long-term lung damage where for the rest of your life you are struggling to breathe, or the stroke caused by COVID, and for the rest of your life you are disabled. So I think we really need to work with those young people and try to get if you have young people in your family, encourage them, engage with them in conversation and debate, seek the information, make contact with us. I'm willing to come out and talk to any group, anyone who feels the need to have someone come out and engage in conversation around the vaccine. Dr. Lee and I are very amenable to coming out and talking with groups, as well as coming out and vaccinating groups wherever they may be. So feel free to reach out to us at the hospital. The email is flu@hsa.ky, or there's communications at hsa.ky, or coordinator at hsa.ky. Any of those email addresses, you can reach us.
Okay, Dr. Brown, thank you very much. And
thank you
anytime you need to be on here, just let us know, and we will certainly have you on. Folks, we're going to take a long past due commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience, and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vampmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vamp Motors on Walkers Road.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch roof. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
3T Cayman MRI is the patient-friendly MRI experience in the Cayman Islands. With the most advanced scanner on island, utilizing cutting-edge technology, and a team of highly trained radiologists and technologists with the experience that rivals any clinic in the world. Our suite is designed for patient comfort, with the largest patient opening of any scanner, and additional features to minimize anxiety during your scan. Come to 3T Cayman MRI for your patient-friendly experience. Learn more at 3tcayman.com.
Celebrate Cayman is taking the Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry to local communities every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Come out for a fun, family-friendly evening to learn about the Seafarers Registry, access complimentary health and wellness checks, share seafaring stories in the memory booth, enjoy seafaring-themed activities, socialize with seafarers, and more. The Celebrate Cayman Seafarers Registry Roadshow happening every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Visit celebratecayman.ky for schedule and info.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry, Celebrate Cayman, the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, and the Department of Children and Family Services will be visiting the Church of God Chapel, Bodentown Church Hall on Thursday, the 22nd of July.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor, continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. Just one doctor left in the studio now, one doctor, one patient. I'm not going to forget it, but I want to make sure that everyone is listening, and I want to give a big shout out this morning to Miss Sadie Shillette and Mr. Marfield Shillette. Now, just in case you don't know who Marfield is, I'm sure those of you who are familiar with the family know from the time I say Miss Sadie Shillette, you know that I'm talking about Mr. Biggie Shillette. And they're celebrating today, Doc, their 60th wedding anniversary is being celebrated, by them today. So everyone wants to wish them, a happy 60th wedding anniversary. And George Shillette, who's a relation, he also wanted to remind me that today is their 60th wedding anniversary. And he goes on to say, oh, see, that's a damn long time. And Paul, I hope you're listening to this. She's asking, Mercedes asking the song sung by him. He says, Susan or Silver Fox can pull it up. They play it quite often. The song is It Is No Secret What God Can Do. So at some point in time, I want you to play that for Miss Sadie and Mr. Biggie Shillette, and all of the family members. Wish them joy and blessing on this marriage. 60 years, Doc. A long time. And of course, we know Miss Sadie came from East End. I think she used to work for Mr. Orman Panton as well.
Yeah,
right?
She came from East End, and that was and that must have been a first love, because
Love at first sight, or
it must have been at first sight because it wasn't. It was before. That's shortly before that. He was a teenager, and Biggie Marfield.
Yeah.
And he and his brother had
twin brothers.
Yeah, had the twin brothers. They had a place called Blueberry Hill.
Yep.
It was a sort of a club, and in a house, a club where they played music in the 1950s.
That used to be. I think that was Miss Joyce's house.
Yes, that was unfinished.
Unfinished.
No, it's unfinished. Yes, an unfinished house and Blueberry Hill, and I went there many evenings to kick up my heels with Elvis Presley.
I went there too.
Yes,
one Sunday.
Elvis Presley and those good old what they call oldies but goodies from the 1950s. Yes.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Yes.
And they used to have these T-shirts stenciled with Cool Cat on it.
Yes.
And I remember, because their families were very close.
Yes.
And when Little One and Biggie came from sea, look forward to them coming because they always made sure that they brought something for everyone in that neighborhood.
That's right. And they brought the latest records.
Oh, yes.
The latest records and so forth. Those days were some fun days. I don't think teenagers have that sort of fun today. Do you think so? That we have?
Well, in their own way, not the same type of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I was listening to a panelist. Some of the panel on radio came on Sterling Dwayne show talking the other day, and they were talking about the different things and generational issues and stuff like that. And we didn't have a computer, we didn't have the smartphones and stuff like that today to occupy our time. So when we sometimes criticize or complain about young people now being preoccupied with these devices, if we had them in our day, we would have been preoccupied the same way. We were preoccupied with the gigs. We were preoccupied with the slingshots, flying the kites, and all of those
the stick
things.
Horses,
and
all those things.
Yeah, so it's just a different generation, all together, And I guess one would ask the question, do people fall in love now for the same reasons that we fell in love in those days, as well, or are they looking at different things and looking for different things in a partner?
Well, in one of the constructs in those days, where partnership was concerned, is that you just didn't rush into a partnership. First thing you once you found the love of your life, as they say, you had to write a letter of consent to the parents or the father or the mother or the parents. If there was a single parent, you had to write a letter of consent before you could even visit their house. You had to write to ask them for permission to visit your house. I remember going to, when I first went out to sea, writing letters for certain people who couldn't write to write back to ask them for when the person come home, can they come to the house to visit their daughter?
Yeah. Okay, we do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Good morning, Mr. Rossi. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing? We're reminiscing here.
Yes, I know. I enjoyed it. I had no intention of calling you really today, but last night I had a conversation with an ex-policeman, and he congratulated me on what I had said prior. I was talking about the foot beat with the police and how effective it was, and he reminded me of how he was a police and that he ran around in the neighborhood and he knew the names of people and they knew his name, and he cannot understand why we're the only people in the world that can't have police foot beat. And I said, well, I don't know, but I got two good men working on it. Say who they are. I said, that's Dr. Myfield.
Yes.
I said, they will try to find out if they can really find out why we can't have it. And, of course, I know one thing that blocks us is that Mr. Myfield made that clear that, you know, when they had to change the Constitution, and prior to that, you know, the Caymanians were selecting the police. We get them from Belize, Barbados, and all of this, and now they went to the governor, and he has full control. I, you know, have nothing against the governor or the chief of police. I am trying to drive home that something that has worked in these islands for Caymanians, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I had to emphasize that, because if it was working for expatriates, it would happen. But the only thing I forgot to mention was that they could have white tunics, short pants, and they could carry a handheld radar, speed radar, and so when they come out of the neighborhoods and they're walking on the main roads, they might pick up a couple of these speeders that are really going crazy out here. So I just thought I wanted to let you know that I want to add the radar to the footbeat on these men. And thank you very much. God bless you all, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, as well. Paul, we need to take that commercial break before we go to the next caller. Let's take the commercial break. Caller, hang in there. Short commercial break. When we return, we will be conversing with you, so please stay tuned.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
I'm going back to the brack again. Cameron Brock and Little K-Man.
Fridays, 3 to 4 p.m. Brought to you by Jimmy D's Poolside Bar at the Alexander Hotel.
The Needs Assessment Unit is extending its NAU is in our district initiative until the end of the year. To get NAU advice and support in your district, please take note of the following walk-in dates and locations for July. Easton Civic Center from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. and Northside Public Library from 1 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. happening on Friday, July 9th. Bordentown Public Library on Friday, July 16th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. and West Bay Public Library on Friday, July 23rd from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. To contact the Needs Assessment Unit in Grand Cayman, call 946-0024 or 948-8758 in Cayman Brac.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. Caller and hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to Dr. Steve McFeel, if he's still there.
Yes, good morning, Miss Georgette. How are you this morning, ma'am?
Oh, I am wonderful to be alive another day on our beautiful little island of Grand Cayman.
Yes, ma'am. And you look like you're going to be alive for many more days with the strong voice that you come across with.
Well, all blessings come from God.
Yes. He's blessed you. He's blessed you. He's blessed you in abundance.
He has, and my whole family. And I mean, would you believe there was a time when we used to, for hours during holidays from school, play jacks? Did you ever play jacks? No, you all are much too young.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I played jacks with the rubber ball and stuff like that. That used to be a famous Christmas present.
Christmas present, yes.
You could pick them up on the back of your hand and all that.
Yes,
yes. And another thing too, we used to ride, believe it or not, I used to ride a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of us, it wasn't often the boys ever went with us, but the bunch of us girls would get on our bicycles. And those days when you said, I'm going to take a ride on my bicycle up to the Great Sound. The Great Sound was really the Great Sound in those days.
Yes.
It was so like another country. It was so secluded and quiet and beautiful, with all those beautiful mangroves there.
And the water was so clear.
Of course it was crystal clear. But everything, almost everything, I must say, has changed in Cayman now. And I'm glad for the improvements that this generation of young people have. But they don't make a mistake. In my day, we had fun too.
Oh yes. Miss Georgia, where did you buy your bicycle from? Marin's or Mr. Ashford Patton?
I don't know where my mother got that bicycle, but it must have been one of the best bicycles ever made. I think it originally came from England.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
They used to have the one called a Rallin and the Rudge.
Yes.
I don't remember which
and the
one
Phillips.
It was, but it sure was a good bicycle.
Raleigh, Rudge, and Phillips.
I'll leave you with one other thought too. As many of you know, when my husband went to sea, I lived in New York for quite a number of years. And I enjoyed being in America. And I love America and respect it as a country.
Mm-hmm.
But we have become so Americanized. When in days gone by, you had breakfast in the morning, you had dinner, not lunch, dinner. That word hadn't come to Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had supper in the evening.
Yep.
And it was, oh no, we had our problems. I'm not trying to say that we didn't have problems, but we sure had a lot of fun. But that Great Sound, I can just, in my mind's eye, visualize that now. So secluded, so quiet and beautiful. But I know things have to change. Change is one thing you can always be sure of. So, Mr. O.C.
Before you go, Miss Georgia, do you remember the long wharf that they built in the Sound in the 1940s?
Say that again.
The wharf in the Sound.
The dock that they had running out
into the Sound.
The wooden dock.
The wooden dock was been like 200 or 300 feet out in the Sound.
I don't really bring that to mind right now.
Yes.
Dr. Macfield.
It was built, I think, by the Americans in 1941 to 42, when
the time that they were here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think it was for their convenience, to when they were bringing things in to
yes,
stores or equipment.
When they were bringing things in, and the huge big PBYs would come up near there to fuel up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you remember something called a blimp?
Yes.
That you would, as young people, when we heard somebody would come and say, you better go out in the yard and look, the blimp is passing.
Oh yes, well, that created a lot of havoc, and when it was passing over some of districts, people thought that Jesus had come. Yes.
Anyway, I just thought I'd mention those few things.
Yes.
So God bless the two of you and your families, and God bless our 3 Cayman Islands and every person who lives on them.
Okay.
And thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Georgette. Folks, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Dr. Steve Macfield will continue, so don't change that dial. Please stay tuned.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to my Grass grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware, custom-designed closet and storage solutions, organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Planning for the hurricane season can be stressful, especially because COVID-19 remains a concern. To help you safely prepare, here's some tips from the Public Health Department. Have a fully stocked first aid kit. Make sure you have face coverings, hand sanitizers, and disinfectants should you need to evacuate to a shelter. Ensure a sufficient supply of medications for people with illnesses. Ensure immunizations are up to date, and when eligible, take your COVID-19 vaccine. Ensure a sufficient supply of food and clean water for every member of your family. For more guidance to update your emergency hurricane plans due to coronavirus, visit www.caymanprepared.gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The Cayman Islands Humane Society is seeking the general public's assistance in locating a silver and light brown Schnauzer breed dog responding to the name Goose. Goose was found tied to a bag of CDs on Tuesday outside of the shelter, but has since gone missing. Goose is in desperate need of heart medication. If you have seen Goose, please contact Brooke at 326-5665. The owner is offering a reward.
Do you know why vaping is considered toxic? Vaping devices work by turning liquids to vapor for users to inhale. Vaping liquids contain a variety of substances. Vaping can cause acute lung injury. People actually don't know what they're inhaling. There is really no regulatory oversight over who is making these liquids, where and how they're making these liquids, and what kind of components are present in these liquids. Ask questions. To learn more about vaping, contact the NDC at 949-9000 or check out our website at www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Doc, I'm going to read this. I haven't been able to sort of like go over it before, but I'm going to read the relevant parts of it. This one person says, good morning. Says, I have a comment about Dr. Macfield saying that as a lawyer and as a legislator, he didn't read a bill prior to submission to the LA. He only read it after it was passed. Well, I think some clarification needs to be there. Number one, you've never been a legislator.
I didn't say I didn't read a bill.
Yes.
I didn't say I didn't read a bill. I said people don't read a bill.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't say that I didn't read a bill. I said what I said was that I think it's 28 days or 30 days, whatever the time it is, that the bill has to be published before it comes to the legislature to get a first reading.
Right.
And I said that people don't read it within those days, within that time that it's been published. And I say that people don't, even when it's passed in the legislature and becomes a law, people still don't read it, and people still don't go down to the parliament to get the bill, to get the law, to read, to see what it says. I didn't say I didn't do it. I do it all the time. That's what my business.
Okay. Thank you very much, for that clarification there, because the person was saying that didn't necessarily represent the best interests of the client, and in this case, the client client is the people of the Cayman Islands.
The person completely did not understand what I said or didn't hear what I said properly. I says people don't scrutinize the bill before it's presented to Parliament, and even when it's presented to Parliament and becomes law, they do not ask for copies of the bill. Yeah. That's what I said. I didn't say it was I.
And they're hearing it because they have just responded and said thanks for the clarification as well. So all of that has been cleared up. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you both, Dr. Steve, my good friend Orith. Good morning to you. Blessed day.
Good morning.
Same to you.
Just want to join you two in a sort of colloquy, playing devil's advocate, and then we can just discuss it. As of the 13th of July, 1.1 billion people in the world had been vaccinated fully against the COVID, which is just 13% of the estimated global population of 7.8 billion. I want to use that as a backdrop to kind of thaw out a little discussion here, because I am starting to get the feeling that, yes, we may have a utopian aspiration of beating COVID, but I'm starting to get to the station that I think we may have to resort to the best possible mitigating position that we can get, which is probably, it has been established that wearing face mask, if everybody does it and practice some basic social distancing, does prevent the spread of COVID. I mean, it is a killer. I mean, it has killed 4 billion people now, according to John Hopkins, as of the same date, which is the 13th of July. 4 million people is a lot of lost souls. But I'm wondering, I see mass confusion in the UK now, where the Prime Minister is really labeled as a super spreader of confusion, because it's like different rules for different peoples, and the numbers are the COVID numbers are going up, and actual relaxation is just being loosened, and the same thing happening in the U.S. with a lot of false information that's spreading on various TV channels, telling people. And you had a caller a while ago that was in the same ship, saying that this thing is going to change your DNA and all kind of nonsense like that. I mean, I'm thinking that we're never going to say, well, we have reached 80% of our population and we can safely reopen, because we have a global population. We live in a very, because of actual communication now in IT and stuff, and technology, we have a very small globe, and that we live in when you come to free travel. And I don't see us ever getting to the stage where we're going to have an open society in terms of commerce and be able to actually police it by knowing who's vaccinated and who's not. But I think if we were to enforce, which I think people will probably adopt better than a vaccination, is just saying, listen, mandatory face mask wearing and some basic social distancing, and basic common sense of washing hands and stuff like how we had when we first were in March and April of 2020.
Yes.
I mean, what do you think about that?
No, I think you're almost spot on with that. I think if you talk to the experts and if they're being on the up and up with you, they will tell you that this situation is going to be around us for quite a long time, and it is the outcomes are so guided by what other countries do, because in the age of globalization and interconnection, if we do it right and our neighbors or other countries don't do it correctly, and if we are to interact with them, then we're unable to do that. And as far as caller, as far as the vaccination is concerned, you hear people talking about when they're trying to lose weight and they reach a certain level of weight loss and they find after that they can't lose anymore. It seems as if that's where we are now as far as the vaccination process is concerned. And that is unfortunate. And the big question is, how do we get it to a new level? What do we have to do to incentivize people to be vaccinated? What is it we have to do to convince them that right now vaccination is really the only answer?
It is a difficult, yet it's very easy, because I mean, I think 3-point-something billion people has been vaccinated so far. Well, I mean, in terms of one jab, only 1.1 has been with the two. But I mean, if something was wrong with the vaccine, those people would be dropping dead in droves. So I mean, the proof, the evidence is there in plain view, and yet you have all this stuff about I'm not going to take it because it's just being experimented on. I want it tested longer. I want more tests run, and I mean, we have got to decide on a date, and whether we have reached 80% or 70%. We have got to open this economy, and we have got to take the best efforts for the safety of the population and health in general, because the last thing you want is not so much people getting sick, but people getting sick and then overwhelming the health services, and where you have a breakdown there, and ordinary people who are genuinely sick with something else cannot find a place to go.
Yes, yeah.
So we have some serious issues facing us this year in the next few months, and one of them is COVID is not going to be beaten. It's going to be around for a long, long time. In fact, I think it's going to be around. It's one of the new flus, for the use of a better word, that we're going to have to be fighting, except this one is 10 times more deadly than the regular flu. And people have got to either take the vaccine, or we're going to have to adopt some system that works halfway, which is the wearing of face mask, but enforce that diligently and forcefully, because we cannot stay at some distant station locked down into next year, March and April and May. We will run ourselves into bankruptcy.
Yeah. Okay, caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Doc, the other twist is that we know what percentage the work permit holders represent in terms of our population.
Yeah.
Here's the really, really interesting twist to this whole thing, right? We could end up with 100% of the work permit population being vaccinated because it is mandated, by law or by regulations for them to do that. And they are more protected in terms of whatever effects that they may have from the virus than the Caymanians and the permanent residents who are here and who are reluctant or refuse to take the vaccine. And those are the same people who complain that the expatriate workers, the foreigners, get more advantages. They're considered better off in certain respects than Caymanians. We're putting ourselves, again, one step behind them by saying, yes, you must be vaccinated, but at the same time, they're saying, well, I'm Caymanian. I don't have to get vaccinated if I don't want to. What do you say about that, Doc?
Yeah, I think it's because the Caymanians believe that if the other people are vaccinated, if the work permit holders and people who are coming into the country are vaccinated, then that protects them. But that is not necessarily so.
No. Okay. Reached that time again, Doc. Any closing comments for us?
I would just like to say thank you for asking me to come on this morning. We were in the company of distinguished people, and it was very interesting to be on the show with other people, and especially in the medical profession.
Yes,
I respect the medical profession because my son is a doctor also, and I have great respect for them. I know that what they did for me when I was at the hospital, and so I would like to say that you should invite some guests on. From different professions, different fields. Sometimes, if you have time to do that,
sure.
Quite interesting to see what they have to say.
I mean, we got some more from your fraternity as well.
That's right.
Fraternity on here. Okay. Again, Doc, thank you very much. For being here.
I didn't get to converse with you about this article.
Yes. Well, tell her. Tell our listeners what the headline is on that one, and they may want to.
The headline is "Secrets of Rebel Slaves in Barbados Will Finally Be Revealed." That's the headlines in the Guardian yesterday.
Yes,
and it's very interesting reading.
Yeah. So. Okay, and I just want to say for those listeners, because Dr. John Lee and Dr. Hazel Brown had some very important messages, for us. Based on what they wanted to talk about, also based on questions that were raised by our audience, those persons who called in, those persons who sent WhatsApp messages or emails as well. And just to say to you, because they're so important, that if you want to, you can go back on YouTube and follow the show on there, and you can see exactly what they had to say in certain areas as well. I know that many persons were concerned or had questions about the vaccine and their ability to travel, the quarantine period, 5 days as opposed to 14 days, whether and when the vaccine has been administered overseas, what the verification process will be. Lots of clarity was given to many of these issues, many of these questions. So you can simply go back to YouTube and watch the show on there as well if you need further clarity. So, folks, I want to thank you. And, again, happy 60th wedding anniversary to Mr. Biggie Gillette and Miss Sadie Gillette today as well. And Paul, don't forget that song later on today. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.